Hey guys, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kalyn. I struggled in the past with an eating disorder, anorexia specifically, and in the other video on my channel, I talk about that and some of my history. But currently, I am struggling with OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. And it highly manifests in something called Recovery OCD. So before I started OCD treatment, my compulsions were a little bit more traditional. I had something called conservation compulsions, which is a little bit less of a common subtype, but it did have kind of more traditional compulsions. I became very obsessed about conserving water, electricity, any type of goods like products or materials, wrappers. So I had a lot of compulsions around that, like not turning on lights, taking super short showers, avoiding cleaning materials, things like that. So I can talk more about that in detail if you guys want to learn more about conservation OCD. It's not something that I hear come up a lot. But where OCD is getting me is recovery OCD. So basically, I have the obsession all the time that any decision that I make, any behavior that I choose to do, I'm afraid it's compulsive. So if I'm reading a book, I have the question, well, am I being compulsive? Am I avoiding something by not doing this other thing? Am I working out compulsively? Am I making this video compulsively? Is this video reassurance seeking? So it's really just grabbed on to recovery for me, and it's a challenge. It's an all-day, everyday challenge, and I don't know if you guys struggle with that, but I had an interesting session with my therapist. I'm in individual therapy for my OCD, and I'm in a group. And I was laughing because in my group we were talking about Mercury Retrograde, and my group leader was like, just blame everything on Mercury Retrograde. Like, I stubbed my toe because of Mercury Retrograde. This coffee tastes terrible because of Mercury Retrograde. So I was laughing about that, but some people who are into that are sharing on social media about like, oh, don't make any big decisions right now because Mercury's in retrograde. And some of you who are in OCD recovery may know some things about magical thinking and some kind of superstitious obsessions. That is an area that I used to be very involved with my OCD as far as magic numbers, and a couple of years ago, Mercury retrograde probably would have been a big thing for me, but I don't align so much with that anymore, so I'm able to have a sense of humor about it and not be truly afraid of the decisions I'm making during this time. But given that, like, I was telling my therapist that it doesn't happen very often in our lives, but I want to say it happens to me like maybe once a year, where I just get this feeling of like I can feel my life changing. I can feel things shifting. I can just like, I don't even know how to describe it, but I can feel it. It's like an energy force. And it's just crazy how things kind of come together sometimes. But so some of the big changes, I recently stepped away from a job that I was doing I was shopping for Instacart, which I love. I recommend it to anybody, and I still want to do it when I have time. But stepped away from that because my son had started school. And then I was doing online health and fitness coaching through Beachbody. And I love Beachbody. I would recommend it to anybody. But I decided to take a leap and link arms with my boyfriend, who has a nutrition site called fastingcuresdiseases.com. I will put a link to that in the episode. Well, I guess it's not really an episode, in the video somewhere. I'm new to all this. So I decided to link arms with him and really help him develop the site and start doing some work on on this YouTube channel and another YouTube channel that I'll be creating soon that just talks about like holistic wellness. So nutrition, yoga, mindfulness, meditation, mental health, anything like that. So I made that decision, and that has been really scary because with Instacart, it does really help with my rumination, getting out of the house and focusing on something besides my own problems has been really nice. But the downside is fall is coming, and I live in Oregon, so it's going to get colder and rainier and dark earlier. And as someone with OCD and just as a human in general, I've always needed lots of sleep. So I call myself kind of a swing shift kind of person. So I tend to have my most productive times of day in the afternoon. I'm really a slow morning person, and I like to sleep as long as I can, which means getting my son to school and then oftentimes coming home and going back to sleep. So anyways, my boyfriend and I decided to cut back on the Instacart a little bit and start incorporating things with working on the site. And then I just felt like the transition away from Beachbody was really hard. That was really hard because I love the programs. Like I said, I'll recommend it to anybody. I'm still going to do the Beachbody workouts. It was just our philosophies. My boyfriend, Norman is his name. Norman and I, the philosophies are just a little bit different. And so I really wanted to be able to show up and live and breathe the ideas without feeling kind of stuck between two worlds, if that makes sense. So I took that leap, and this means that I have kind of a financial dependency on him. We're kind of teaming together and blending those things, which is really scary. And I also have social anxiety. So a part of me is like, everybody's going to think that's crazy. And why would you blend, business with pleasure and all of that? And I think that's just OCD and anxiety just really trying to sabotage things. This is a decision that I made. This is something that I have been thinking about for a few weeks. And maybe I'm getting into some self-reassurance there, but my therapist and I were talking about how like OCD, it doesn't add to your quality of life. It usually takes away from your quality of life. And then what I was thinking too is like, but it's so sneaky. Like she gave the example of hand washing during COVID. Like, yes, there maybe are, maybe not, depending on where you guys fall with that. But as a blanket statement, hand washing maybe increases your quality of life. However, OCD takes it to the extreme. Your hand washing for hours a day does not enhance your quality of life, but it's going to convince you that you have to do it to be safe, and it's going to trick you into thinking that it is improving your life when it's not. OCD wants to ruin your life. So big changes with the job, and then we started talking about my involvement in treatment and how maybe I'm being a little bit too dependent on my treatment support system, that maybe I'm using that as reassurance. And that was really hard because I'm a perfectionist and I'm afraid of doing anything wrong. So I'm afraid if I ever do a compulsion, if I ever seek reassurance, if I ever engage in avoidance, I feel like I have done something wrong. So, in a very kind and loving way, she was just kind of expressing that to me, and something that her and my group leader had been collaborating on. So, there was a way that I was going to tie all of this together. Oh, I know what it was. So to bring back together that concept that feeling like everything in my life is changing, I think that in a pattern in many areas of my life, I have relied too much on structure, scheduling, like with my jobs I was doing, Instacart and Beachbody. They're both kind of self-employment things, so they are really flexible, but I found a lot of solace in the routine and I guess you could say, rituals around it, and sitting with that uncertainty of having a lot more extra time now has been hard. My homework for my group was to not write down an hour by hour schedule for myself, starting this new job. And then also OCD is also taking it to the other extreme, like, well, you can't schedule anything. You have to just live in complete uncertainty all day, every day, because we just want to ruin your life and you can never feel comfortable. Gosh, it's a mother. But I think that in addition to my job, I probably was or am relying a little bit too much on the structure of therapy. And coincidentally, my mom had been talking with me about maybe stepping away from the group in a couple of months because she's been paying for it for a while now, and setting some boundaries about this is how long you can stay in group before you need to start paying for it yourself, etc., etc. So, and then this conversation came up with my therapist. It's like, oh, well, maybe this is a sign that I need to maybe just challenge myself and spread my wings a little bit. And it's scary. It's scary, and I guess I didn't realize how much I was relying on things outside of myself to keep myself safe. And I think something else that's related is like when OCD was before OCD treatment, and I've even had the urge after. Well, no, I have done it even after residential treatment. But OCD would get really bad, panic would get really bad, and I would go to the emergency room. Like, I would just go to the emergency room, sometimes multiple times in a week, and every time I got the same result. There was nothing they could do for me. And one time the behavior specialist, or whatever they call the mental health person in the ER, she looks at me and she's like, "You do not need this hospital to keep you safe. Like, Like, this hospital is not going to keep you safe. Like, you are capable of keeping yourself safe. And I took that really hard at the time, and it really pissed me off because I tend to just not have faith that I've got this. So anyways, so many changes in life, so much uncertainty, and then kind of just making that realization that, maybe I am relying on certain things in my life to keep me safe. And Mercury Retrograde has made everything at once shift and is giving me kind of no choice but to kind of sit in the uncertainty and, I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't know if I made the right decision, and I don't have to know. I don't have to figure that out right now. So anyways, if any of you all struggle with recovery OCD or conservation OCD, like I was talking about at the beginning, feel free to send me a private message on Facebook. I'm at Kalyn Griffiths. The website, my boyfriend's website, is fastingcuresdiseases.com. Stay tuned for more videos. Hopefully going to be doing kind of some blog-like posts, but we will see how this goes. Please subscribe, share with your friends who are in OCD recovery, and I will see you guys next time.